Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tell Your Story. I'm your host, Todd Nesloni, the Director of Culture and Strategic Leadership at TEPSA. And each episode, I look to bring you a different guest who has encouraged, inspired, or challenged me in one way or another, and bring them on to share some of their story in hopes that it inspires you to tell some of yours. I am so excited about this episode's guest. This episode is going to be just one of the more fun ones and personal ones for me because not only is my guest today one of my favorite people, but she is also one of my former students as well. So I'd like to welcome Christian Marie. Christian, thanks for being here. Tell everybody a little bit about who you are.
Hi. Okay. So, obviously, my name is Christian Marie, as it says on the screen. I I am a musician. I kind of grew up loving music, and I sang all the time. Let's see. I guess you could say. Oh, I started theater at probably about 11 years old, and that's actually kind of around the time that I was in Mr. Todd Nesloni's class. So
I know, it's weird. It's like, what are you going to call me? I was wondering what you were going to say just then.
Oh, I had to call you Mr. Nesloni back then. And then once I stopped going to the school, elementary school, I just got to call you Todd. So now we were a little bit more personal. Let's see. So he was my fourth and my fifth grade teacher because they didn't have fifth grade in the elementary school until I went to fifth grade because that's when they added it. Let's see.
Well, let's jump in and talk about some things here about just your path. So, you are a musician. You're entering this world of singing, and you also play some instruments. And so, when did you kind of feel like musician or just that music path was your path?
Well, so when I started doing theater when I was 11, I kind of realized that it was something that I was actually kind of good at. So I really liked to sing, but around that time it was more singing and acting. And then I got my first guitar when I was in 8th grade. So that's when I started to realize I kind of just want to be a musician. And so at around 16, I actually joined the school called the Sarah Kelly Music School. And that actually changed my life. I met so many people. My life completely went in a different direction. It was so crazy. And through that, like going through voice lessons, going through guitar lessons, going through all these kind of lessons, songwriting and stuff like that, and having that community made me a lot better. And I can say that about anything. You surround yourself with a lot of people that are probably better than you, or at least strive to be better, then it will rub off on you and you will be so much better.
Well, I remember just you singing all the time when you were in my class. Like you said, I got to have you for 2 years because I did looping because like you also said, we brought down 5th grade to the elementaries. They asked me to move up and I loved your group that I was with. So I said, yes. Obviously I was crazy at the time for having you for 2 years, but it was still one of my favorite groups ever to work with, getting to have y'all for 2 years. We went to camp together. Like we did all this fun stuff. But I remember how much you loved music. And, it was my wife and I, who was then my girlfriend and fiance, loved your singing so much. We even asked you to sing at our wedding. And then I know just like for our wedding anniversary this year, you re-recorded the song that you sang. And I was like, oh my goodness. And your voice just even, of course, naturally stronger and even more beautiful now. But you mentioned joining the Sarah Kelly School. And I remember when you joined, because I know who Sarah Kelly is. She's an award-winning musician. And so when I was like, oh my gosh, she's in Houston area. And so how did you find the school? And was it a tough process to get into?
Well, she lives in the Woodlands. So I think it was my dad who found her first. I can't remember if he had worked with someone with a company or if he just found her online. But since she was online, I had to go through, or not online, her website. We found her. We scheduled like an interview kind of thing. And so I sang for her. And play guitar. And so she said, like, I think you'd be a great fit. So that's how I joined when I was 16. And all the way up to 21 now, I actually teach at the school. So it was
Oh, cool.
a very like nice step up. Kind of climbed that ladder. It was great.
So, you mentioned playing guitar as well. Was guitar naturally the instrument you were drawn to, or did it just happen to be that and you fell in love with it?
Um, I think honestly, I think piano is probably more my instrument. I think I'm a lot better at piano. Guitar is really nice. I do like playing guitar. But since I have the grand piano downstairs, I was always playing piano, always trying to figure out songs to play and stuff. But I really wanted a guitar because I thought that playing guitar would be so cool. I thought that it's just a nice sound anyway. I just thought that it would be like it would just add to the fact that I could play on stage and I could sing for people, and I figured people would be impressed too.
Well, let me tell you, we are always impressed. I am anyway. Anytime anybody can play any instrument, because I just get so jealous. Because I would love to learn to play guitar or piano, but I've never made the time to do it. But and you were in Sarah Kelly's school while you were also in regular school as well. How did you balance all of that?
Well, let's see. Since I was in high school, I'd have regular school hours from 7 to, what was it, 2 or 3, something like that. It's been a few years. Till 2 or 3, and then the Sarah Kelly Music School, I'd only have classes for an hour and a half once a week. So it wasn't like I was going there all the time.
Right.
But I had songwriting classes for about an hour and a half, where they'd listen to our songs, they'd write with us, they would also tell us what could be better and what was really good, stuff like that. And so it wasn't really hard to balance. I just had to figure out when to do my homework, when I could songwrite by myself, just schedule things.
Yeah. And now you said you're teaching there. How did that come about, and what does that look like for you?
So, well, right now it's all online.
Obviously.
When it was in person, I just remember I had like all my friends kind of worked their way up to teaching as well. So all of my coworkers, all the other teachers, there's about 6 or 7 of us. Well, there's a lot more, but there's like 6 or 7 of the main teachers. And all my friends kind of worked their way up to that too. And so I was like, I really want to be a teacher. I know since I've been little, I've also always wanted to teach. So it was kind of like perfect, right?
Yeah.
You be a teacher, but you also teach what you love. So I kind of talked to Sarah about it. I was like, I think it'd be really cool to be a teacher. She had me do like one class. And I really loved it because I also love kids. So I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. And so I started doing that, and I started teaching. And at the beginning, I was only teaching once or twice a week, and now I teach every single day. So I had to kind of work my way up. I started at a different pay, and now I have a different pay, stuff like that.
So what do your classes look like? Do you focus on vocals, songwriting, instruments? Like what is your specialty to teach?
Well, it depends on the student. I sort of teach all of that. So some students want to really focus on guitar. Some of them don't really like singing at all. And then some we focus on piano. Some we focus on vocals. It also depends on, because sometimes we run our classes in tracks. So what that means is like every 3 to 4 weeks, or I think it could be 3 to 4 or 8. It's a big jump, I know, but I can't remember. But every period we would change. So we'd be like, okay, you want vocals this time around, or do you want guitar this time around? You want piano, different stuff. So I kind of teach them all of that: guitar, piano, vocals, and songwriting.
I love that. Well, Christian, there are a lot of the people who listen to my podcast are educators, just because of the line of work that I'm in. And so, when you were moving up through school from elementary all the way to when you graduated, did you express that love of music throughout? And did you have teachers really help encourage that? Or was that kind of something that you were like, you know what, this is my side thing, I'm doing it after, I don't really tell a lot of people about it? Like, how did you do that?
I think if you ask anybody I went to school with, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, she loves music. She's the musician. She's the girl that sings all the time." It's kind of annoying, but we all know it, right? So I think that's the kind of person I was. You could say, "Hey, what does Christian love?" "Oh, she loves music." Like that's just how people know me, I guess, because I was very upfront about it. I want to be a musician.
Yeah.
I was in choir. I was in theater. Obviously, the school, the Sarah Kelly Music School, and everybody knew about it. I did talent shows. I did all this stuff. I was in all the theater shows. I may have not been like the biggest parts, but I think everybody knew. They're like, she's the aspiring
Yeah.
one. And I had teachers like I know there's one teacher that I called Miss Carter. Her name's Rhiannon Carter, and I think she was my junior year English teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And she was always telling me, I would love to come to your shows. She was great, and she has a daughter that likes to sing too. So she was always like, my daughter, she looks up to you. She really wants to be like you, and would come to all the talent shows and stuff and the shows that I was in. And it made me so happy that people,
Yeah.
even now, on a certain social media, one of my fan bases with my boyfriend, we have a duo, Chill the Duo, and our fan base is kind of growing, kind of really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Very crazy. All these people, they're constantly saying like, "You're so great. Your voices are beautiful." What the heck is going on? Like, it's kind of crazy to think that you have people that look up to you.
And I love that you share that because, I can totally see that with being a burgeoning musician, just kind of watching that fan base grow. And, but I want to ask some questions of that. Before I jump into that, I want to jump back to the educator thing real quick, just for one more question, and just say, when and you're not too far out of high school, you're only a couple of years out. And so when you think back on your educational experience, what would you say to teachers of ways that they can really leave a lasting impact on kids?
So I've actually been thinking about this a lot lately. The one thing that I've heard and that I like really firmly believe in is to leave your problems at home and at the door. Maybe not at home, but like leave them at the door, because your kids, whether they're elementary school kids and whether they're high school kids or whatever, they don't know that it's not their fault that you're angry or that you're upset, and you could have a migraine, but they don't know that it's not their fault. So, I mean, you could express to them, say, "Hey guys, I have a headache, so if you could take it a little easy on me, but don't be angry at them."
Right.
I know when I was in school, I always felt like when teachers were always upset, or when they just acted like they didn't really like being a teacher, it was like, then why are you a teacher?
Yeah.
So I always I didn't want to be a burden on my teachers that just didn't seem like they wanted to be there. So that's what I would say. Leave your problems at the door.
I love that. And I think that's such good advice too, and such a reminder of how even the little things can make a kid feel like, are you upset with me? Like they may have not said it like that, but you're internalizing that. And so that's great for them to hear. And so you mentioned that you've started a duo now with your boyfriend, and it's called Chill the Duo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so how did that come about where you were like, hey, you want to just be a duo in music? Like, where did that come about, and where did the name come from?
So the name came from both of our names. My name is Chris and his name is Phil. So when you put them together, it becomes Chill. And we thought that was so funny. We were like, this is the best show starter ever. Like
I love that.
Say at the beginning of every one of our shows, "Hey, I'm Chris, this is Phil. Together we're Chill." He actually found me online. He messaged me through Instagram and he asked me if I wanted to write a song together, which actually ended up being like our debut single, because that's the OG Chill song is what we call it. It's called My Side, and we decided to meet in a park, and I was really sketched out, so I brought my friend and he brought his friend. So
that was smart. Good job, Christian.
So we met at the park, and then we started meeting continuously after that. And after we wrote the song, we were like, hey, this makes perfect sense. We should just always sing together. So probably about a month or two after that, we actually started dating. So we decided to do the duo before we started dating, and this was a
There
few
you
years
go.
ago too. So it's
I
been a
love that. So, when you think of your process as a musician, does the melody come to mind first? Is it a lyric that you start with, or is it just kind of like it just comes different every time?
well, it's kind of all the like everything. So different times. So this month I just wrote a song recently, and I think what came to me first were the chords. So I was playing the chords, I was like, this is really pretty. And then I just kind of bursted out like
Mhm.
words and a melody at the same time. So sometimes it's different. A lot of the times if you're I always tell my students we always start with chords when I teach my students. That's honestly, if I was to say anything, that would be the easiest way for me to start a song is finding the music part of it
Right.
first.
I love that. And so, you're performing in front of others. You're
Mhm.
sharing your music on social media, and you're online doing that. At your age, I know you've probably either gotten or are going to get negative feedback or people being hateful online or anything like that. And so how do you protect yourself from not letting that get too far into your head to make you stop singing?
I laugh at it. I have to it in order for not to let like negative comments get to me, and I kind of don't even really think about it getting to me, but the way I kind of cope with it, I guess,
Mhm.
I just laugh at it. I'm like, this person has to be so low to the ground right now that they have to say something mean about someone. I don't understand why people do it, so
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, there's no point in being sad about it.
Well, and I love what you just said there, that mindset of they have to be so low to the ground that they have to say
Mhm.
that to feel better about themselves. And I think when you keep that in your head, I think that helps with kind of go through that.
Yeah.
Well, I know you've always been really expressive as well with your hair, different haircuts, hair colors, and I know your mom really well. She and I taught together. Your mom is one of the reasons I was on social media.
Mhm.
We started presenting some stuff together. And so, having a mother who's involved in your life like that, what has she said every time you come out with a new haircut or new hair color or anything like that?
She kind of looks at me and goes, really? Not
I
in a
can
bad
hear
way.
her
You're
saying that.
changing it again, like, like you just changed it last week. You're changing it again. What's going on? Are you having some kind of crisis? Like, are you okay? But yeah, sometimes I just get bored. That would be part of the main reason. But also, when I'm looking at pictures online, I'm like, I really want that hair color. That looks so cool. And so I find the best way to do it. And I just
Yeah.
kind of sit in my bathroom where I have someone help me. And I just kind of do strand by strand, look in the mirror, have a little mirror behind me because I can't see the back of my head. So I really like dyeing my hair because
Yeah.
it kind of, I mean, I guess you could say as a musician, I do like to stand out, although sometimes I'm like, I don't want to stand out.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
like I I just think it's cool looking, to be honest. I just love dyeing my hair.
I
Mm.
love that. I just love your sense of style. I feel like every time it's a little bit different, but I can always see Christian in it every time, which I can tell that you have a heavy voice in what's happening, and it's not like somebody else is trying to mold you or anything like that. And so, for those of us that follow musicians and things like that, sometimes we hear these conversations of people being forced into certain molds or how they're going to sing. Have you felt like your progression has been pretty natural and you've got to maintain a lot of control?
So yeah, I think that it's been pretty natural actually. I haven't had like, a lot of musicians, they have their record companies say, I want you to be this kind of artist. I want you to, they kind of mold their artists into what they think will be
Right.
popular. But being an independent artist kind of gives you the freedom that you don't have anyone really controlling you. Like at the Sarah Kill Music School, we always say that it's that to be what you like. It's not like a saying, but we always strive to make musicians the kind of musicians that they want to
Mhm,
be.
mhm.
So it's kind of like when I ask a student, they're like, do you want to, what kind of musician do you want to be? What kind of music do you like? And then can you supply like inspiration, like artist inspiration, music inspiration, whatever. But so becoming a musician through that process kind of makes you as well. So yeah.
I love that. Well, Christian, if people are looking to kind of check you out or check out Chill the Duo or any of that, where can they find some of your music?
My music is under Christian Marie, but soon after I release my most recent single, the one that's coming out pretty soon, I don't know when, but I'm figuring it out. It's just going to be Chris with 2 S's at the end, so it's CHRISS. But right now, it's Christian Marie Music on Instagram with 2 C's at the end because Christian Marie Music was taken. And Christian Marie Music on Facebook. And then Chill doesn't have a Facebook page, I don't think, but we do have other social medias like Instagram, which is Chill the Duo, and then on Spotify it's Chill with a period at the end. We thought that was a cute little style touch.
I love that. I love when I see artists do that, or like Kelsey Ballerini, who had like nothing capitalized in her latest album, like all little lowercase letters. Like I always love those little touches, like a period at the end or something like that. So I can't wait to continue to listen on Spotify and then follow on Instagram as well. But Christian, you know, one question I always love to end all of these conversations on every Tell Your Story episode is, as people, I feel like there's things that we hold really personal, that we hold really true to ourselves, that we believe very deeply within ourselves. And so for the people listening or watching today, if there was one thing you want them to walk away with today, what would your one thing be?
And this is going to sound really cliche, but don't let anyone tell you who or what you can and can't be. And I say that sounds cliche because a lot of people say it, but the reason that a lot of people say it and the reason it's cliche is because it's true. So, I mean, when you start letting people tell you who and what you want to be, it doesn't make sense that you'll really be happy. So you need to let yourself be happy and just let yourself do what you want to do.
I love that. And that is a beautiful way to end this. Well, Christian, you know, I adore you. And I was so excited when you said yes. I was like, I'm just going to reach out and see if she will even do it, because you are my very first former student that I have got to have on Tell Your Story. So you get to hold that trophy in my life. You're also the only one who sang at my wedding. So there you go. You got that too. But Christian, you are doing incredible work. I hope people go and check you out at Christian Marie or at Chris, whenever that comes out with 2 S's, and Chill the Duo. So you're doing great work. So thank you, Christian.
Of course.
And thank you, everybody, for listening or watching another episode of Tell Your Story. Remember, you can check out past episodes on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you get your stuff, it's there. I hope today's conversation with Christian has encouraged you to get out there and tell your story, because every story matters.